This is Heavenscape, Year 1, the Strathmore Chronicles, brought to you by Saturday Night Gaming. The Strathmore Chronicles, written by Tony and Jessica Stevens, narrated by Tony Stevens. Gloom, Episode 4, Shades of Despair. 3 inky shadows swirled over the grassy plains, twisting through the tall stalks of wild wheat. The tendrils of smoky darkness drifted lazily, unbound by the evening breeze that stirred the grass. Far in the distance was a campfire, a tiny beacon of life against the gloom. The 3 souls inside the mist felt nothing, and yet they felt everything. They knew each other's thoughts and each other's pain. They felt rage and sorrow and primal hunger. Each of them had been betrayed while they lived, and each was reliving that betrayal after death. The shade that had been Arthur Strathmore could remember everything that had happened to him. With precise clarity he recalled his confrontation with Dr. Stein. He felt rage as he learned of the destruction of Riverside, and he felt fear and power blazing through him as the crimson energy chose him, and the great sword, his Iratus blade, took on form and weight in his hand. He remembered other things too, but only in brief glimpses. A beautiful woman sweeping her chestnut hair over her bare shoulder. A young girl with an eye patch and a sassy grin. A young man with red hair and earnest eyes. He could recall joy and laughter and the smell of the East Sea and the taste of a cold beer on his tongue, but only vaguely. Those memories danced at the edge of his consciousness, half-remembered and obscured by pain and rage. The loneliness and isolation that comes with the rank of command. The heartbreak of leaving those he loved. The pain of wounds sustained in countless battles and the deaths of comrades and men in his charge. All these things were sharp and clear in his memory. Faces drifted across his mind. Friends and lovers and children and Draken and the faces of the dead. As the inky black smoke crept steadily toward the tiny bastion of light across the plains, Arthur felt other souls with him. He recognized that some of the memories that he saw were not his own, and yet he felt them with perfect clarity. In Vel's memories, he was standing heartbroken on a battlefield, watching his friends fall one by one. He could smell smoke, and he knew, as Vel knew, the mighty roar of Mungarak, the Minotaur. He felt rage and sorrow as Vel's best friend and most promising student betrayed him. He felt arrows pierce Vel's back and watched his lifeblood soaking into the dirt. The twisted face of his most trusted brother was the last thing that Vel saw. The pain and sorrow was unimaginable. He saw other things in Vel's memories as well. Things he had never imagined he would see. Breathtaking elven cities and vast forests and hauntingly beautiful music. He saw elven children and heard their melodic laughter and tasted strange flavors on his tongue. He felt Vel's pride as he was inducted into a troupe of blade dancers and felt Vel's thrill as his lynx tattoo was bestowed upon him by the highest member of the Fae. He knew the peaceful stillness of the ancient places of the world. He remembered every step walked and every road traveled over the centuries of the Moon Elf's lifetime. But above all, he felt Vel's sorrow. The black mist carrying the 3 lost souls was moving with purpose now. The campfire was much closer, and the shade that had been Arthur Strathmore could see people huddled around it, casting long shadows on the ground behind them. He felt something else then at the sight of living flesh. Another consciousness, primal, as hungry as a wolf and more dangerous. Arthur knew it was the shape-shifting man in the trench coat, and he knew his name was Robert Gray. He could feel Gray's hunger, gnawing and constant. His mouth watered with the taste of blood and fresh meat, and he thrilled with the joy of the kill. Arthur knew, as Robert Gray knew, the bone-breaking pain of shifting from one form to the next, of skin tearing and stretching, of being turned inside out and unmade and remade. There was almost nothing left of happiness in these memories, only a vague sense of having once been a part of a family. On the edges of Robert Gray's mind flickered a woman and a child, but their names had long been forgotten, and even their faces were lost to him. He had been a monster for too long. For Robert Gray, the kill, the hunt, the chase, and the intoxicating stench of fear was all that mattered. The smoke reached the campfire and began to swirl and twist, tighter and tighter. The figures around the campfire leapt to their feet, alarmed, and drew their weapons. The wolf began to growl. Arthur felt his soul torn from the darkness, and he could no longer feel the others. He felt himself growing smaller, and as his body took shape around him, he felt the familiar aches and the blinding pain of his missing right eye, and he knew he was alive again. Arthur Strathmore looked around at the shocked faces of his companions.
Did y'all see that? I did it! We teleported!